Hey everyone, Sassy Mouse here, and today I'm going to give you a hopefully shorter video with 10 tips to survive 2021. Hopefully this year isn't a year that we really have to survive, but if things have taught us anything, especially 2020 taught us anything, it's that you can't really know what to expect from any given year. And so far, 2021 has been kind of crazy. We're 2 to 3 weeks in and already the shit has hit the fan a little bit. So let's talk about some ways to survive 2021. Tip number 1. Continue wearing masks and washing your hands. Although people are starting to get the vaccine and are getting tested a little bit more regularly than they had been, there are still some concerns that make it important for people to continue these important life-saving things into the new year. Most importantly, there is still a risk of carrying the COVID virus inside of your body without having any symptoms. The vaccine may help you fight off the virus, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't carry it and transmit it to someone else. Given that we don't know at this point whether these vaccines are going to be 100% effective or if there's going to be certain populations that are going to continue to be more vulnerable, we all need to do our part to continue wearing masks and washing our hands whether you've gotten the vaccine or not. Tip number 2. Continue to explore ways to socialize in a socially distanced way. These could include things like video chat, or gaming with someone, or even writing snail mail letters to them. Be creative and come up with things that work for you. We all need the support of others right now, and socializing with others is an important way to get that. If you have some good ideas for how to do this, comment below so that others can share the ideas with you and you can get ideas from others. Tip number 3, stay busy. One of the worst things we can do, and the thing that makes a year seem to go on and on and on in this kind of awful way, is to be bored a lot of the time. A lot of the things that people used to do for entertainment are no longer available. So we need to get creative and find new ways to stay busy. There are all sorts of activities and hobbies that you can do from home, such as starting a YouTube channel, which is one of the things that I did, starting new hobbies, new activities, things that you've always wanted to do but just maybe never really had the time for. Try different things, whatever it takes to give your life and time meaning. Even if you're still working, you're an essential worker, or you have now returned to work, you probably still have a lot of downtime because a lot of the things that we used to do after work or around work are no longer available. Even if it's just one activity, adding a hobby can be really helpful to get you to have the opportunity to fill your time with something, anything to help you out. Tip number 4, set a new goal. Working towards something can give your life meaning as well, and having a specific goal can be really helpful in furthering this intention. What kind of things have you always wanted to do but just never had the time or motivation to actually follow through with? Filling your time with a goal can give your life meaning and purpose. It can help reduce the stress of the tedium of having things just keep going and going and going and not seeming to get better. And it can really help you be the best version of yourself for your mental and physical health. Even as the pandemic hopefully starts to wind down, although it's not there yet, having these new goals can help give your life fulfillment as things transition from current pandemic times to whatever comes after this. Tip number 5, increase your healthy habits. Hospitals are kind of a shit show right now. Many hospitals are full or near capacity. There aren't a whole lot of beds available, and having to go to the hospital at this time is a risk for you and for your family and for everyone. Many hospitals have no visitor policies and other things in place that make having to go there when you weren't planning to kind of shitty. Some of this is simple things like eating healthy and making sure to exercise, trying to reduce any chronic conditions that you may have that put you at risk for hospitalization. Other things include making sure to use safety equipment available to you for activities that you do, such as making sure to always wear your seatbelt when driving in the car. A car accident can go from being a minor fender bender to a near fatal accident just because of safety equipment available and usage. You can also put yourself in a safer position by avoiding activities that are very high risk. Certain activities are just more risky than others. However, if you do choose to do a high risk activity, which I'll admit I have done, I learned to ride a motorcycle during all of this 2020 bullshit, you can mitigate some of that risk by consistently using safety equipment and harm reduction strategies. Make sure that whatever risky activity you're doing to the best and safest of your abilities. Tip number 6. Manage your mental health to the best of your ability. Stressors, even communal stressors like a worldwide pandemic, increase the risk of having mental health problems. These stressors can also increase the severity of mental health problems that you already have. Ultimately, we all need to do whatever we need to do personally to manage our mental health in the best way and try to keep it as stable as we possibly can. For different people, this is going to be different levels of difficulty. I acknowledge that, and I realize that that can be a really big ask for some people. However, doing whatever you have the power to do to keep your mental health stable will help you get through the coming months until things hopefully at some point go back to normal. You may also find that you actually need to take steps to get your mental health to a manageable level, even if you have never had to do so in the past. This may include getting professional help, such as a counselor, psychiatrist, psychologist, whatever, or it may be things that you do at home to help you manage your mental health in that kind of a way. For some people, this may include taking medications as prescribed. For others, it may not involve medications at all and may be entirely behavioral. You know where your mental health is, and if you have a mental health provider, they know where your mental health is too. If you need tips, you can always reach out to them for some help to just get through it a little bit better. Some people may be afraid to seek out new mental health services at this time, and I understand that. I don't really want to go see someone at this point, but many mental health services are providing their services online or over the phone or in some socially distanced appropriate way that allows you to do sessions right from your own home. This can take a lot of the stress of seeking help out of the equation. Tip number 7. Practice self-care. When I was working at a drug treatment center, I would ask people what they were doing for self-care, and people would think that it was this big complicated thing where you had to have specific activities you're doing and blah blah blah, and they never really had a good answer for it because they felt like they weren't really doing anything. One of the best things you can do for your self-care is simply to do your basic daily activities. Eating on a regular basis a good amount of calories for what your body needs. Getting enough sleep for what your personal sleep needs are. Exercising, even if it's just a little bit, just getting out of bed a little bit and moving around for even just 30 minutes can be huge. And of course, doing basic hygiene activities such as showering or brushing your teeth or whatever you need to do for your own personal hygiene. Ultimately, those are the basis of all self-care activities. This gives you a strong foundation to both build upon as well as to monitor where you are mentally, physically, and with your self-care. If you start slacking on an activity that you've been doing pretty consistently, that can be a red flag that something is up with you, either mentally or physically, that you need to investigate. Having a good baseline of self-care is essential to being successful at getting through any difficult time. Tip number 8. Monitor your escapisms. Let's start by defining what an escapism is. Escapisms are any activities you're doing to escape the stressors in your life. Some of these can be healthy and just fine, but some of them can be taken to an extreme level that is very unhealthy. Some examples of common escapisms are things like sex, drugs, alcohol, video games, exercise. The list goes on. Regardless of what escapisms you engage in, and let's be real, almost all of us do at least some form of escapism. A lot of us, it could be YouTube or Netflix or something like that. Monitoring your escapism is important because it will tell you whether or not that escapism is being helpful or hurtful. Ultimately, if your escapism goes to an unhealthy level where you are giving up certain life activities or it is harming important things in your life, it has gotten to be a little bit out of control, and that can be a sign that things are starting to spiral in a bad direction. Anyone who has had an addiction knows what the end result looks like, but may not remember what the early signs of that were. Ultimately, keep track of the things that you're doing and why you're doing them. Do you have moments during the day where you're highly stressed and you think, oh man, I just need to do blank to feel better? Doing that a little bit is normal. Doing it every time and to the detriment of your health and body and social life is not. Keep an eye on how extreme these are. Hopefully soon I will be able to do a video about what some of the signs of an addiction are, and you can apply that to any escapism thing, whether it's a behavior or a substance. Tip number 9. Seek help when needed. We can't do this alone. For some of us, help can be simple things like just talking to someone else. For some of us, it's going to require seeking out a professional who knows what's going on in our lives. If you need a professional, remember that many professionals are doing things over the phone or online. Again, taking out both the risk of being exposed to a virus as well as some of the stress of going out and seeking that service. Having an outside perspective can be really helpful to get both advice and tips on things, but also to have someone else be monitoring how you're doing from a third-party perspective. Sometimes when we're doing things ourselves, we just don't realize how much of a problem our life has become or how something is affecting us. Being in the driver's seat is not really the clearest picture to the best path for our lives. Remember, there's no shame in getting help. It's always available, and you can always opt to just stop going if you feel like it's not working for you. Tip number 10. This might be the hardest tip to follow through on, but if you can do it, it can be really good for you. Tip number 10 is to be hopeful. Having hope at a time when we're looking at nearly 12 months of a pandemic is pretty hard. Things feel like they aren't really changing, like there's all this chaos and bullshit going on and we just don't know what to do. However, being hopeful that things will change, because they always change, and hopeful that it will change for the better, can help make it not feel so depressing and difficult to get through the day or the week or the month or, as we are now, the year. Ultimately, having hope, what little hope we can be a helpful tip to get through any difficult time. I hope these tips are helpful for you to survive whatever 2021 throws at us. Like I said, I am hopeful that by the end of 2021 things will have gone back to normal, but I don't know how long that's going to take. It might be next month, it might be freaking the beginning of December of 2021 when things finally start to go back to a level of normal. I highly doubt it'll be next month though, let's be real. My biggest goal is for everyone to take care of themselves, to get through this year to the best of their abilities, and to ultimately feel like things aren't as shitty as they might feel sometimes. Regardless of who you are, I have belief that we all can do our best to get through this difficult and challenging time to the best of our abilities. If we work together and work to do our best for ourselves, we can get through this. If you like this content and would like to learn more, you can survive that subscribe button. That means to click it. Ring the bell if you want to be notified when new videos come up. Like, comment, share the things that you're doing to help get through this year. And I wish you a happy, healthy, successful 2021. Stay safe for everyone. Have a good one.